Alright guys, let's start our day 2 and today we are starting our day with first concept polymorphism. What is polymorphism? Polymorphism word came from Greek language which is consisting of two words poly plus morphism. Poly stands for many and morphism means forms. Any entity which is having one name but having many forms is known as polymorphism. And this polymorphism concept is a real world concept. It is not only used specifically in programming, it is a real world concept. Let's see some example of polymorphism in real world. First example could be professor. If you see in colleges, there are different professors there and every professor teach different subjects. Every professor teach in a different way. The style of teaching is different. Even they deliver different type of content. But because ultimately they are teaching, that's why we are representing them with one designation, that is professor. One name, many forms is an example of polymorphism. Similarly, you can see in companies we have different managers. There is HR manager, sales manager, marketing manager, different managers are there. Every manager is performing their task in a different way. The style of performing the department is completely different. But ultimately, because they are managing the things, we are representing them with one designation, that is manager. Again, one name, many forms is again another example of polymorphism. Now, similarly, we can implement polymorphism in programming as well. We have two type of polymorphism in programming. One is known as compile time polymorphism and another is known as runtime polymorphism. Compile time polymorphism is also known as static binding and runtime polymorphism is also known as dynamic binding. In programming, compile time polymorphism can be achieved by a concept called method overloading and runtime polymorphism can be achieved by a concept called method overriding. And if someone will ask you what is compile time polymorphism, the definition will be when object bound with the functionality at compile time is known as compile time polymorphism, and when object bound with the functionality at runtime is known as runtime polymorphism. These definitions are not very clear to you, I can understand this. We are going to learn them one by one in detail with method overloading and method overriding. We will learn how I am defining compile time polymorphism and how method overloading is achieving compile time polymorphism and how runtime polymorphism or dynamic binding is implementing in Java by method overriding.